Okay, so this is our grocery, most of it. We still have to go to Whole Foods for some sauces and stuff, but we've got our boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We have a pork loin. We have no antibiotics. Doesn't mean much, but no antibiotics. It's uncured, so there's no nitrates or anything. It's humanely raised ham. We've got our coffee, some olives, pecans, and diced tomatoes. In here, we've got our produce. We've got lettuce, 2 apples, 2 sweet potatoes, an onion, and 3 bell peppers. So I've noticed that we're actually buying less ingredients since we're cooking Whole30, because stuff like the vegetables and stuff can go for more than one type of meal. So we're actually buying less. So this is a good thing. We just got back from Whole Foods, and this is what we got. We got the Primal Kitchen organic unsweetened ketchup. All of this stuff is Whole30 approved. We got some more of the Chipotle lime mayo because we really love that. We got some arrowroot flour because that is a good thickener. And the Primal Kitchen no soy teriyaki. And 365 actually, I'm sorry, I got the hiccups. 365 actually makes sausage that is Whole30 compliant, because not only does it not have any nitrates in it, but it doesn't have any sugar in it either. So it's got really pure ingredients. And then they did not have the Primal Kitchen barbecue sauce that we were after, but we found this Noble-made barbecue sauce, and it is Whole30 approved and made with bone broth, and it's got really good and pure ingredients. So this is not just for this week. This is going to help us, like having these extra sauces is going to help us like a little down the road. So we just went ahead, and it was not I've got hiccups, I'm sorry. It was not a cheap trip, but it's better to go ahead and just get this stuff because we have to drive so far to get to a Whole Foods. So instead of making several trips for 1 or 2 items, it's just better to go ahead and bite the bullet and get it all at one time. So that's our little Whole Foods haul. It is day 12 for our Whole30 journey. Now, the last couple days we've had leftovers, and actually in the breakfast we have gone back to the scramble of eggs and mushrooms and spinach because we actually really enjoy that, and so we didn't mind doing it again. But for breakfast this morning, what I did was, I didn't film it because it was so simple. All I did was cut up a couple sweet potatoes. I boiled them until they were mash soft, and then I mashed them skins on. I love the skins on potatoes, and that's where a lot of the nutrients are. So I went ahead and mashed them up with my masher, no butter or anything like that. Just mashed the potato and sprinkled a lot of cinnamon in there, and then mashed the cinnamon in with the sweet potato, and then cut up a Fuji apple for some crispness, and just like little chunks like that, and just mixed it in with the potatoes, and then topped it with chopped pecans. And I'll insert a picture of it. Guys, it was so good and amazingly filling. It was like a texture party because you had the kind of the mushiness, and then you had the peel from the potatoes in there, and then you had the crispness of the apple, which was different from the crunch of the pecans, and it was sublime, and we loved it. And I've got a little bit left over, so I'm actually going to have that for breakfast tomorrow as well. Now, what we're going to be doing today is, backtrack. We went out to eat for the first time on Whole30 Friday night because we had concert tickets. And so we went to Iron City Grill in Birmingham, and let me tell you what, these guys, we told them we were on Whole30, and they said, what can't you have? And I was like, the list is long, my friend. It's more what we can have than what we can't have. But I started going through the lists, and I was like, because there's nothing on their menu that's Whole30. Well, my favorite thing there is the Cuban sandwich, because we are Cuban-aholics. Like, we have eaten Cubans all over the city and pitted them against each other to see who has the best Cuban. And so I was like, I really wish I could have the Cuban. I was like, is there any way I can have it with just the meat on the plate with no bread and no cheese? And he was like, well, I can put it in a lettuce wrap for you. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. I said, okay, so no fries, no bread, no cheese. So what they did was they actually made a lettuce wrap filled with the ham and pork, cooked pork there with some pickles on it, and then they brought me a little thing of mustard so I could put the mustard on it. It was so freaking good. And it was amazing. And then Matt had the salmon with a vegetable ratatouille side left off the quinoa that comes with it, and they made him a little side salad, and they went through the list of the things that he could have in his side salad, and they just gave him a drizzle of balsamic vinegar. They brought us out, since we couldn't have anything on the dessert because we love their bread puddings there, they brought us out a cup, just this like little jar that was just full of fresh sliced strawberries and just fresh blueberries, and we tore it up, guys. It was so good. So I was really proud because we were able to stay on Whole30 while dining out, and the guys at Iron City Grill just went above and beyond to do everything they could to work with us and make sure that we stayed on track, and we had unsweet tea. So anyway, while I was eating that Cuban, it gave me an idea. I said, why don't we just do Cuban bowls for lunch? And so I am going to slow cook some pork tenderloin and get it. This is Sunday, but I'm doing this so we can have this for our lunches for the week. So I'm going to slow cook some pork tenderloin with some spices, and then we got some approved ham. There's no nitrates, no sugar, it's not cured, anything like that. So we got some ham cubes. So what we're going to do is we got some lettuce. We're going to shred up the lettuce and mix up some ham, put some ham cubes in there, and then top it with the pulled pork that I'm going to slow cook, and then squirt a little mustard on there. We got some pickles to go in there. Guys, it's going to be a fantastic lunch, and it's going to be one of our favorite things ever. So let's get started on the pork. So this is the pork tenderloin that I got, and I'm just going to cut this open. This is about 2.5 pounds. So I'm going to cut this open and just going to put some dry seasoning on it. Put a tiny bit of water in the crock pot and just throw the meat in there. I really don't normally even cook it with water, but I'm going to put a little bit in there. But I'm just going to put some dry rub seasoning on it, throw it in the crock pot. It's going to be so good, guys. Forgive the mess on the stove. We're actually cooking burgers as well for today and tonight, and I just got through making a mess with potatoes. I got some potatoes roasting in the oven. So I'm just going to, I got a paper towel and tried to dry this off as much as possible. So I'm just going to do some kosher salt. Okay, I'm going to hit these with a little bit of cracked black pepper. I hate doing these kind of things when I have to touch meat and flip it over, because then because I can't, I'm trying not to touch the lid. I'm not going to lie, I really despise touching raw meat. We're going to do a little onion powder. Probably be easier for me to just do it all on one side and then flip it. Parsley flakes. Oregano leaves. Now, normally when you cook a Cuban pork, you're supposed to cook it in like orange juice concentrate with some and some cumin, my favorite. Orange juice and lemon juice, I think, but I'm not sure because of the amount of sugar in orange juice concentrate. I'm not really sure where that stands. That looks really good and it smells good too. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I just wanted to do a dry rub this time, and I'm sure it'll turn out great. So I have just layered this in the bottom of my crock pot. And put the lid on and leave it alone for a while. I'm actually going to cook this on high so I can shred it tonight and not have to wait, because it's already pretty late in the afternoon. It's like 3 o'clock. So I'm going to cook these on high for about 4 hours. The pork is now done. It is ridiculously tender, so I'm fixing to shred that and then set that aside for our bowls. That 2.5 pound pork loin did really well. It filled up this whole thing, which is perfect amount for both of us to have for our lunches this week. Guys, it smells so good, and it just, I barely had to touch it with a fork. Like, it's just falling apart. It's so tender, and we tasted a little bit, and it's so good. So we have our bowl of shredded lettuce for the base, and I'm just going to cube this ham up a little bit. We're going to sprinkle the ham in the bottom. Guys, this looks so good. The ham is really good. That's actually really good ham. Which proves that you don't need nitrates and cures and all that stuff to make good ham. I'm going to go ahead and chop up my pickle. Now I had some water in here to help this heat up with the lid on it, but now I'm just kind of letting it get a little toasty and dry because Cuban meat actually has a bit of a crust on it, and if I wasn't making this day by day, what I would have done is put it on a sheet pan and put it in the oven. The guy at Iron City Girl gave me this tip. You put it in the oven with like a drip rack, and you kind of let it dry out and get a little bit of a crust. See how it's starting to get a little bit of a browning right there? That's part of having a Cuban sandwich, is getting that. But I decided not to dry, because this has to last a week. I didn't want to like dry the whole thing out prematurely. So I just figured I'd, after I heated it up, I just let it get a little crisp here. So now that that's got some nice brown bits, we're just going to add this to the bowl. So we're just going to put this right on top. We're going to add those chopped pickles on there. And we are going to drizzle some mustard on top, which I'm running out of mustard. I'm going to have to go get some. And there you have a gorgeous Cuban bowl. That looks so good, guys. I'm ready to eat this, and I'm also grateful for the guys at Iron City for making me that lettuce wrap, which gave me this idea. So that's it for today. This is our lunch. Today's actually now the 13th, and I'm also going to be making dinner tonight, but I'm going to make that into a separate recipe, so we'll see what we're having for dinner tonight. You're going to see in a video tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Goodbye.